This file drawer is relating to my friend Lynn Crouch, who was my college mentor and taught me about everything. And so this is just stuff, lots of stuff relating to that, articles and things I wrote. But basically this is kind of personal stuff, but he worked for me at the record company, but this may not be at all relevant to anybody but me. But it's a big part of me. And so that's this, and this is just miscellaneous stuff of what I write. So I would keep monthly notes of things, just things I was working on. So there's a crap load of stuff, and there's a lot of calendars from different dates. There's 77. Wouldn't that be fun to go through? And lots of correspondence. So it's just stuff that has stuff to do with me, family. This is more just monthly stuff having to do with me. And I used to take, these are cards, 3x5 cards having to do with just notes and things, aphorisms, whatever. I thought of myself as a writer at one point, and I guess we all do. And so these are all stories that I never typed. I have lots of stories. And so these are all stories. And then I'd keep files for the month of just projects I was working on. It's kind of like a messy diary. More of that. More of that. This is more Jay and more me. Papers, stuff that I would write for different reasons. Maps of shelters, all kind of stuff. This is just friends and family. So this is the stuff that I do with my record company, Artist House, and also when I worked for CTI Records in the 70s and also A&M Records in the 70s. I have files going back to that. So this has stuff like George Avakian, Bob Brookmeyer, Clive Davis, Nestle Erdogan. Russell Gloyd was Dave Brubeck's composer. Martha Glazer was Errol Garner's manager. Max Gordon on the Village Vanguard. Herb Alpert was Herb Alpert. And I worked for him on several occasions for a number of years, and he also funded my foundation. His wife was a friend of mine. We exchanged a lot of short stories. So Whitney Bell. So this is just the people that I dealt with. Tio Macero, Bruce Lundvall, Mort Lewis. He managed. He discovered Simon and Garfunkel and managed Brubeck and Blood, Sweat and Tears. So major guy. And, posters from all over the world for different jazz festivals mostly. I guess nobody cares about that. And then more posters. So these are back to the artist files and back to files relating to the businesses I was working in. So it's like everything's kind of like the same. There's Jerry Wexler, George Wein, my friends, Clark Terry, Cree Taylor. More posters. More posters. And then this is more artists, directly artists. There's a lot of art stuff in there too. There's a lot of Chet Baker. This is all Chet. That's all Chet stuff. And then Art Blakey, Hiram Bullock, Bob Brookmeyer. A lot of Bob was very close to Bob. Brubeck did a lot of records with David. Ron Carter, still a good friend. Don Cherry, Miles Davis, who I never knew, and I did a lot of recordings, reissues of his work. Wilder Davidson, a record I did for Vomit. Paul Desmond's a good friend. I have a lot of stuff about him. He left me all of his records and tapes in his will, so I have all that. And the records are stamped with his name on the back, 1977, when he died. Same stuff, Jim Hall, lots of Jim Hall. I did a lot of records with Jim. Great artist. Etta James, Illinois Jacquette, Leonard Feather, Bill Evans. Just, these are just Papa John Creech, Japanese tour that I took with the CTI All-Stars in 1974. More artists. Madden Mill, Jerry Mulligan, Elvin Jones. I was very close to Elvin and Thad Mel especially, and also Hank. So the Jones brothers are all good friends of mine. All amazing artists. Herbie Mann, I was a little bit of a relationship with before he died, but never really got to record the records we talked about. So just more artist stuff. Music, Dewey Redman, Art Pepper did a lot of stuff with art. Archie Shipp, James Blood Ulmer did a lot of stuff with him. And there's Joe Williams and Robert Farnon. There's music, all that. So those are arrangements that Robert Farnon did. That tape has gotten yellow. Cecil Taylor, a lot of music there. And then Ornette. So Ornette permeated my life for a number of years and changed me completely. So this is just stuff that I was involved in every aspect of his life, it seemed like. So we actually typed file names. Another one, this is, he wrote a song and printed it. He drew this himself, and so I have a couple of copies of this. He also wrote a song called the Ball Song. I may have someplace that he wanted me to sell to every sport that used the ball, which I actually tried to do. This is just Ornette of stuff, just notebooks of publicity and reviews, stuff like that. Lots of that. European tour. So lots of stuff. This is Artist House. Just my company was named that. My foundation is still named that. This is just files related to that. No, I'm not even sure what all this is. Certificate of incorporation. No, that might come in handy. But tax shelters I tried to write and to try to finance things. And that. So then there's this. These are our project notebooks. So like I did a lot of reissues. I did probably 350 new records and probably 400 or so reissues. That was a big part of my financial world for a while, and so I did a lot of stuff with RCA. So there'd be in each one of these notebooks, there's going to be, I don't know, 5 or 6. Oh, we can just see one. So this is RCA early. This is early stuff that I did. So I was working on Judas Priest, so there's some stuff about that. John Denver, just notes about the different takes and what the EQ that we did to change the sound, because this was early into DVD land. John Denver had a lot of records on RCA, so I did a lot of those. A lot of compilations. So you'd get all this stuff and figure it out. So this is just notes about those things. And so there's a lot of Lynn Miller stuff in here. Nothing that's probably not in RCA catalog, RCA records, but the archives. But I don't know if you can find it anymore. I don't know if they ever digitized that. They probably did. Andrew Sisters, that was a fun record. I found all these tapes from Chesterfield Hour, and so this all has to do with that. So the tracking sheets of all the songs, and here's a Paul Desmond record. Here's NBC discography of different stuff. I don't know what all this is. It's like lots of music. These were covers that had to do with the Andrews Sisters. So it's just stuff I copied from the files that was sent to me. This is like the packaging, So notes, faxes, bills, just proposals for Steve Backer, who ran the program for RCA at that time, a good friend who helped me out a lot. German Railroad Records, Hall & Oates, Lena Horne, Jefferson Starship, David Bowie, Elvis, Jefferson Airplane. You know, the only thing that's really in here is stuff like just this stuff, the kind of Elvis. So just this has to do with just this one record I issued, and here's the rock and roll compilation and notes on the early '50s records that we did. That I reissued. I wasn't present for the recording day. So it's just kind of like that. It may not be really valuable or anything, I don't know, but I just did a lot of records. So this is all mostly RCA over 3 or 4 years. Well, this is RCA. These are new records, David Newman, Michelle Legrand. I think that's a reissue. Jesse Belvin definitely reissue. Al Hurt reissues, Pete Fountain. That and Mel was a new record. So this is kind of a mixture of reissues. I'd do them like in periods. Like if I had 3 months of stuff or 2 months or a month, I was working on different projects. I might keep them in the same notebook. As time went on, I made a notebook for everything, every project. It got more involved. So, again, this is A&M reissues, GRP reissues, Polygram, a lot of new blues records there. This is all, I did a whole series of new blues records for them. So that would be stuff related to that. And there's probably notebooks related to each one of those records. So basically, a lot of these records have plastic shoeboxes in the other room that have all the outtakes and related materials. So I have notebooks on the project. I have tapes related to the project, or cassettes, or DATs, or whatever we were using back then. And I have files in addition, and over there you saw. And then I also have, for a lot of things, baseballs signed by the artists who participated. I'll show you those later. I quit. This is royalty statements that just shows that nobody pays. Auditioners, people that sent me stuff, some people turned out to be famous. Auditions. This is just inventory. This is legacy. This is more reissue notebooks, just like the ones in the file cabinet. But they're in these boxes. This is Columbia. These are all the Columbia projects that I did. This is Gilman Foundation. I did some stuff for Alligator, Music Masters, Evidence. These are different labels that I work for. Just different project notebooks again. This is inventory of Skate Mouth Brown DVDs. More inventory. O'Teal, Scrap-O-Matic, Jason Crosby records that I worked on. I just happen to have inventory. Also, I had more project notebooks here, and here. So those are filled with other projects. And then I had a band in college and law school, 11th Hour, and this